breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline this morning. Shreveport Fire Chief Clarence Reese Jr. Chief, I wish we were speaking with you on better conditions, but there's been a tragedy within the Shreveport Fire Department. What can you tell us? I know you have to be careful on details, but what can you tell us, and what can we as the public do?
All right, so I thank y'all for having me on this morning, and on behalf of the Shreveport Fire Department and the Captain Jake Shaver's family, we want to tell all citizens thank you. Y'all have reached out, y'all have been praying, been donating. I've seen the GoFundMe, been donating to that, calling about meals, and so I have to really say thank you to our citizens for reaching out to us. I've had fire departments from all over reach out, text messages, and have made calls. So we really appreciate that. Of course, Captain Jake Shaver saw the news, of course, come out on yesterday after Red River released it. But our Captain Jake Shaver lost his 14-year-old daughter due to a tragic accident in the Red River Parish. He was immediately surrounded. He was at work when this happened. We go to work a lot of times, expecting to see our family when we get off. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen for him. So
it's emotional for you. I can hear it. You're a dad. It's emotional for your entire department, and it's emotional for this entire community. We can help. We can wrap our arms around them, but there's just no way to describe this loss, is there?
Absolutely not. It's gut wrenching. We've had several firefighters that have lost kids, some while at work, some while at home. I can probably count about 5 of them in my 22-year career. Again, we're a big family, about 600 people. And then, of course, our extended family, our wives, kids, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. So Shreveport Fire Department touches a lot of households throughout Northwest Louisiana. We don't all just stay in Shreveport, of course, Bossier, Red River Parish, all the way down to Lincoln Parish. So we touch a lot of Northwest Louisiana, whether or not you know a fireman that's a neighbor, firefighter that's a neighbor. You know someone that is connected, especially to the Shreveport Fire Department. It's one of the largest agencies in the state of Louisiana.
Chief Clarence Reese Jr., you mentioned a GoFundMe page. If somebody is interested in helping, how would they reach out and help this family in a more tangible way? Of course, prayers are very important, but how would they do that?
Right. Of course, anytime anything takes place, tragedy, we kind of want to vet those GoFundMe pages. I saw y'all made a post about it. We'll make a post with that GoFundMe link to our Shreveport Fire Department Facebook page this morning. But if you could, that would be greatly appreciated. Our wives, Shreveport Fire Department spousal support group has stepped up tremendously in providing a meal train. We've had the owner of Partners Barbecue, who used to be a Shreveport fireman, reach out and provide meals to the family and guests of the guests of the family. Again, that the GoFundMe will help out. And keep in mind, the Shaver family has not asked for anything. We do this out of the goodness of our heart, just because it's one of our members.
Chief Reese, let me ask you this. I'm sure you've talked to the family. How are they dealing with this? I can't even imagine the trauma they're going through right now. How are they doing?
Right. When I left the hospital, I've texted them since then. But when I left the hospital on Saturday, they were doing pretty much as well as you expect someone to be able to be doing. Funny thing about Mr. Captain Shaver is everybody's like, man, he's acting the same way he would at the station or whatever. He's just very resilient captain. Of course, we know the Shaver family from the restaurant business, Shaver's Catering and the Pearl Restaurant. These are, this is that family, but they're doing as well as expected. And what makes a difference, in my opinion, are the people that surround them. Those that, they go out with, concerts and, just outings. Those are the people that have surrounded him, his crews that he's worked with over the years, and their wives. They've opened their arms and placed them around them.
And obviously the other children are impacted as well. They were injured. They're all doing okay, though, now?
Absolutely. It was released the next morning or yesterday. The other daughter was released. And, of course, probably having about the same hard time as everybody else in that family. I can't thank the school board enough. They reached out very early, as soon as they heard the news, to prepare counselors for the schools that these young women attended.
Mm-hmm. Chief Clarence Reese, thank you for your time. Please, the whole community will continue to pray. Give this family our love and our prayers for us, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Is he growling or humming?
I think he's singing.
Oh, that was singing? Okay, my bad.
Sorry, that intro music is my favorite song.
Oh, is it? See what I see? Growling or humming? I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I was kind of free and loose with the singing.
Yeah. How are you feeling today, by the way? Did you get on your Nirvana or whatever it is?
I did. I'm bringing in a Navage expert, by the way.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be in later this morning.
Okay.
So.
You feeling better, though?
Yeah.
Shaky still?
I can breathe. That's the thing.
Okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
When you get out of your car, though, I told you this morning.
Yeah, we pulled up at the same time.
It punches you in the gut when you get out of the car.
Humidity is ridiculous.
It sucks your breath out of your lungs. I mean, I'm already struggling with lung stuff, and I'm like, wow, somebody come give me the Heineken maneuver.
We had, when we lived in, I don't know if I should even say this.
You lived in Houghton.
We lived in Houghton, and I was on the volunteer fire department.
All right.
It was in Houghton, not the East 80. They do a great job. Mm-hmm. But this was in Houghton proper. We lived up on 157.
Okay.
And we did a lot of training. I mean, we did a lot of EMT training, a lot of first responder training.
Right.
I don't want to claim more knowledge or abilities than we had. Because there's a huge difference between first responders and EMTs.
You bet.
So we did a lot of first responder training. And we had a guy, and I'm not even going to say he talked like this. Aaron, he came in one day and was helping us on this training, and he was about 5'4" and weighed about 300 pounds.
Oh Lord, he was a square.
And today he's going to teach us when somebody's choking, you need to learn the Hyman maneuver.
The Hyman. No, he did not.
And I kind of, he wasn't trying to be funny.
Oh, he wasn't.
Because he said it the whole class.
He thought that's what it was?
It was the Hyman maneuver.
Oh, God.
And I looked at one of the other guys. I was like, what?
Wow. That brings up something funny.
A very interesting class.
I'm watching, I'm not going to say which channel, but a local TV newscast the other day. And they were doing a story about something about a library, a Bossier library. I'm not sure what. And the anchor first said, and at the library.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought, Okay, slip of the tongue, whatever. So I backed it up.
Library.
So I backed it up to make sure. Did I just hear her say library? And she said it again. And so she said the word 4 times during the newscast.
No.
She said library.
Every time?
All 4 times.
Oh.
How is that your job? That's what you do for a living.
I know that that irritates Erin a whole lot because her face is as red as a strawberry right now.
Does someone not tell you? Hey,
Was it a special Valentine's Day?
Oh, man. Wow. I felt bad, though, because imagine if you're one of the other co-workers and you're like, did she just say library?
Library.
Yeah. And I backed it up again. Yeah. 4 times we went to the library.
Oh.
And then the reporter who was doing the shot said it right. And I thought maybe she'll catch on when she comes back on. And no, she said library again. I thought, oh, man. Some people that's the word they learned, and it sticks in their brain. Right. So he learned Hyman maneuver.
Right, that's what I guess that's how, I don't know, but it was the Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
Is what we learned, by the way.
That was Robert's joke for years and years, the Heineken maneuver. And this is embarrassing. I'm at a local restaurant with some friends one time, and somebody was choking. And my dumb booty jumped up and said,
no.
Yes, because I'd heard the joke. How many times did we hear Robert's jokes? Over and over and over again?
Yes.
I stand up at the
20
table.
years, yeah, I guess you would.
And I go, does anyone know the Heineken maneuver? And people were looking at me like, this dude is choking and you're making a joke?
This is not the time to joke.
Please. I was so embarrassed. I went, oh, man, I wanted to bonk Robert in the head. He wasn't there, but I really wanted to bonk him in the head.
Oh, he wasn't even there.
No, he's not there. I'm with friends. And I'm jumping up going, does anyone know the Heineken maneuver? Oh, man, I wanted to shrink under the table. It was terrible. Really terrible.
And there are other things that are a little more understandable, like daylight saving time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not savings time.
Right. People screw that up all the time. I get that.
The book of Revelation. It's not Revelations.
Okay.
It's the book of Revelation. It's the revelation of Jesus.
Okay. There are a bunch of them like that irritate. Certain people get really bent about them.
We were on the set of The Mist, okay? I was fortunate to be on set for like a month as one of the grocery shoppers.
Oh, cool.
And here's Marcia Gay Harden. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she's won an Academy Award.
Ooh, nice.
Look that up. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe she has.
Dang.
Or been nominated. And we're doing this scene, and she plays a lunatic. Of course, any Christians in the movies are nutbags. Mm-hmm. You know, they're just...
Sure.
And so she was the town loony. But in this one scene, she was quoting from the book of Revelations. You know. And in between the takes, as I was... Erin.
Did you really?
I said, Miss Harden, I said, not, but it's Revelation. There's no S on the end of
Did she fix
Revelation.
It?
And she, and I could have been thrown off set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have went, yeah, who the
God, get that redneck out of here.
But she looked, because she had a Bible, she was holding him, she looked, thank you so much. She couldn't have been sweeter.
Wow.
And she did it that way the rest of the takes, but I think the take that made it in the movie was one of the ones with the
they screwed
S,
it up.
But it wasn't
Lord. Wow.
a lack of trying.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Jasmine Green, Caddo school board member, is going to join us at 6:40. If you're just waking up and you don't know what the school board did yesterday, holy cow.
Okay, you say, but I'm not looking at it through the same prism that you are, I think.
You might not be. You're absolutely right.
Because I know I know Keith personally.
Well, I do too. And Keith's a great guy and he'll be a great leader. I have no problem with Keith.
Yes. He's a good man.
How it happened is what people are talking about.
Yeah. It could have been handled differently.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep. It may coulda and probably shoulda.
We'll talk with Jasmine Green here coming up in about 10 minutes. 1017 FM 710 KEEL.com.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Yes, the lady in the back.
I have something that I know that none of us are going to do. No, wait, I'll take that back. Ruben might do it if he were under the influence of enough things.
Wait, what is that? Bad people and the influence of...
It's an annual event. They do it in Philadelphia. It's the
That scares me already.
The Philly Naked Bike Ride. They get out. I would like to ask two gentlemen in the room.
Okay, and then I got a question for you since you bring that up.
How do you do that on a bicycle seat?
It sounds very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It sounds extremely
I don't know. And the bike seats, a lot of those bike seats are like as big as your hand, like, on its side.
Yeah.
They want to promote body positivity and fuel efficient transportation.
No, just no.
I just visualize men on a bicycle. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more.
No.
There are
That's
better
not
ways
happening.
to do that. There are so many better ways to do that I could even think of off the top of my head.
The only thing I was thinking of is Ruben would only do that if you were enough, a little bit tipsy.
I don't even know if drunk Ruben would do that.
Well, yeah.
And drunk Ruben does some crazy stuff.
Drunk Ruben has done some wild stuff.
That's why drunk Ruben has an old-fashioned Rolodex over there, because drunk Ruben doesn't want to put all these important phone numbers in his phone.
Yeah, Billy Nungesser might get a call.
Yeah.
Although Billy might respond positively to it of all the people.
But we don't want drunk Ruben calling the mayor at 2:00 on a Sunday morning going, "Hey, mayor, come down. We're not done yet at the bar." That's not what we want.
Well,
anyway.
see, I contend, I totally agree with Seinfeld. There's good naked and there's bad naked.
Yes. Yes.
There's good naked.
You're absolutely right.
And he walks in and this beautiful girl, and she likes to go nude in his apartment,
okay.
And she's in the kitchen trying to open a jar of pickles, and she's, and he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Most people, you really don't want to see naked.
I bet 90% of these bike riders in Philly,
you really don't want to see naked.
Stay home, put on some clothes, at least put on something to cover the junk. Okay, we don't want to see it.
Ruben, let me ask you this: have you seen that documentary on Woodstock '99?
I have.
Yes.
It's a 2-3-parter or whatever.
Yeah.
Very disturbing.
Yes.
Human nature. A look into. But what was back in the 60s, Jim Morrison was arrested because they thought he might have pulled something out on stage.
Right.
Which he didn't.
Speaking of Seinfeld, he took it out.
He took it out. Who was the guitar player that was on stage completely naked at Woodstock '99? Flea?
The Chili Peppers guy.
The Chili Peppers were constantly naked.
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, just completely, not even, nothing, nothing.
Right. Nothing.
Hidden.
Mm-hmm. All out.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. It's rough.
Jim Morrison's like, seriously?
Yeah, exactly. Please.
And I had to flee the country?
Right.
Jasmine Green coming up right after the break. Caddo Parish School Board member talking about their decision on a new superintendent.
Kind of shocking.
1017 FM 710 KEEL. Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Caddo Parish School Board. Wow. Kind of, I don't know. They made it I don't want to say shocking decision, but I think it will be to some.
To some, and in the crowd, they were stunned. I was stunned when I was watching it. I was like, whoa.
That they decided to interview only one candidate out of the 6 that were selected by the firm that they hired to vet candidates and bring forth the best candidates available. Only one candidate is now going to be interviewed. Jasmine Green, Caddo Parish School Board member, is on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. Jasmine, good morning.
Good morning. Let me do this in order. Miss McCarty and Mr. Martindale. She has a little bit more seniority, so I have to call her name first.
She doesn't have a little more seniority. She has a lot more seniority.
Okay, Jasmine, I hope it's okay if I call you Jasmine.
That's fine. I'm just fine with that.
Were you shocked by this move? Did you see it coming? Do you think the fix was in?
No, I didn't see it coming, but I'm not shocked. When you think about after we tallied up all of those numbers, Mr. Burton had a significantly high number. And what I'm thinking that the person who voted for, the one person who voted along with, not making this out of race, but the one African-American who went along with the other Caucasian board members, I think what they were thinking is, let's not waste any more time. Let's get us a leader. Let's go ahead and keep moving.
Let me follow up on that, because I got a text this morning that said Benita Dozart voted with the 6 white board members. Okay.
Right.
We're going to lay it out there. I got a text this morning that said she was confused and maybe didn't.
Well,
do you know? Have you talked to her?
I haven't talked to her, but I don't know if she was confused or not. But I do know that, I think what has happened has happened. It's looking like that he's probably going to be our superintendent. And my thing is, let's rock and roll with it. I'm not trying to go back anymore. Do I think that Keith Burton can do the job? Absolutely. I think there's some things in his interview that made him kind of stick out and know a little bit more about Caddo. I don't think his scoring was going to change any. I think it's time to let's rock and roll with it. Let's go ahead and interview him. Let's go ahead and finish up what he's got to do. We'll go ahead and negotiate a contract. If he's the person, if his contract negotiation is in reason, let's go ahead and go.
Well,
go ahead.
I so appreciate your attitude towards this, because I don't want this to become ugly, within the community.
That's right. And so I've been through one of these, and it was so ugly last time. And I mean, it put tears in board members' eyes before Gorey got here. It was during his time. It put tears in board members' eyes. So I'm not trying to have that this time. Keith Burton is the leader. Can he do the job? Yes. He's already talking about putting a great team behind him that's going to do the work. People that are already here. Not only that, we've gotten a chance to choose somebody who's kind of homegrown. I'm sure Wanda Gunn is smiling down from heaven right now, because all of the work that she's put into Keith Burton. One thing that he mentioned that I'm gonna sit down and talk to him about. He mentioned in his interviews about high poverty areas with schools in them. That's a big thing in Caddo. And then in order for us to move forward, this is something that I preach all the time. You have to go to those target schools and get the community involved in order to push them forward. And he's going to have to come up with a plan for that.
Ms. Jasmine, you talked about the scoring process, and you don't think his score will change if they were to go back through. Can you tell us about that? What were you looking for? How did you base these scores?
Okay, so what happened is you look at the interviews and you go through all of their resumes and the things that they've submitted, and you start scoring them, and you score them from I think it's like 0 to 6 or 1 to 6, and whoever has the highest gets the 6. And you start scoring them on down.
And out of a total of 60 points, he got a 58. He far and out surpassed all the others.
And so that's out of all the school board members.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they all graded him.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Jasmine, then. If it's Keith Burton, and y'all all loved him apparently, why'd we search? Why'd we go through this expense and this time?
Well, you want to give everybody the opportunity to apply, because maybe you have somebody with a little bit more experience who is possibly familiar with what the situation that we have going on with the state coming in, and can probably help us a little better. So you always cast your net wide.
Were you surprised that no other locals were named to that list of finalists, semifinalists?
I was. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I was a little bit surprised. I would have probably liked to see somebody else, but right now that's water under the bridge. Mr. Burton's the person. We're going on, and I'm going to tell you what I think that the firm was thinking. The firm probably looked at what everybody in the community wanted, and along with the board members, and what they did is a lot of people put a person with high administrative experience. So which means that probably would have been Mr. Burton and probably a few others. But when you look at people who have served in those high capacities, you notice all these people have either been superintendent or assistant superintendent for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So, then it narrows it down.
Jasmine, the other thing, the big elephant in the room that's going to stick out, and people are planning protests, etc., is that the other 5 semifinalists were African Americans. They all had PhDs. Keith Burton does not. He happens to be a white man. How do you tell people that he's the best candidate, even though he may not have the most alphabet letters behind his name?
Well, the thing is, and I can understand their concerns, and everybody's concern can be valid. However, I don't think they were necessarily from Caddo, which makes it a little bit different because, like I said, Mr. Burton is home. He's from Caddo. I was listening to somebody speak. They said, his whole family works in Caddo, so mm-hmm. So you almost, you can't go wrong here. He knows not to mess things up because he has a lot. He's vested here. He's not going anywhere. And sometimes that's good to know, because you don't want a briefcase superintendent that's going to jump all over the place. You
Good
want
point.
somebody that's going to be here for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And with him having just having a brand new grandbaby here, and him, I'm hearing his daughter's now teaching. She's just graduated college not too long ago. So he's got a family full of teachers. So he's going to have some firsthand experiences and have some conversations among teachers that nobody else will have probably in that group, which is always good as well.
Jasmine Green, Caddo Parish School Board member, let me ask you something here in the last minute or so. Just what do you say to those who, and we've got some messages that say, we need somebody from another perspective. We've got failing schools. We've got, the state coming in trying to take over schools.
And he's been a part of that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. My thing is this. It doesn't matter who is superintendent. It does not matter. It matters that the person can lead, and whenever you have high poverty in schools that are in high poverty communities, you're going to have problems no matter who the superintendent is. So what you need is a superintendent that can help figure some of this out.
Well,
if he has that knowledge, I think the people he's going to put around him is going to have a little bit more knowledge than he does about it. And we're going to move forward with this thing.
I'm so grateful for your attitude, and I think it'll go a long way to make this transition a much smoother transition. And let's, like you say, look forward.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward, and you've got a lot of people having a whole lot to say. I'm hoping they're going to get in and help get this thing done. Mr. Burton has done what he's supposed to do. He's raised his children. They're all pretty successful children, and now we've got to get some people. We got to get some families looking like he is,
gotcha.
And not just he is. You have a lot of people in the central office that I really admire, and I think that are going to get behind Mr. Burton to help us push it forward. And that's the thing. And I'm hoping on his very first day, if he's the person for the job, which I think he's going to be, I think he'll be able to negotiate us up a good contract that we can live with. We're going to move forward. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking backwards because I don't want this to be a mess. I'm not trying to make it about race. I want to be open-minded to everything. And we're going to see what Mr. Burton can do, and I think he's going to do a good job.
Jasmine Green, Caddo School Board member. Thanks for your time, ma'am.
All righty. Appreciate it.
1017 FM 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, I told you earlier this morning, if I were a gambling man, I'd have lost money on this deal.
Oh, yeah. But I've talked to some insiders
frankly,
that work for the system, and they have said that, he's been a clear favorite, that he's well-liked. The board members love him. They are very pleased with his work, and he's very popular with staff and the board alike. So he was going in with a leg up, no doubt about it.
Well, and I'll tell you, I go to church with Keith. We were in the same Sunday school class for a while. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Keith's a good man.
He is a good man, and I think he'll be a great superintendent. He's going to do the interview on September 11th, and he will be, after that, they'll negotiate a contract. Now, I texted him last night, after 9 o'clock. What was I doing awake? Seeing if he could join us this morning. And he said, "It's your bedtime." I'm quoting. "I'm waiting until the board makes their final vote before doing any media interviews. And, of course, we will make it happen immediately after that." And I said, okay, I understand completely. And so he's waiting for the interview and move forward with that. And then we'll have him in. We'll talk about his plan, what's his direction going to be. There were some board members, you could tell, during the meeting went on for more than 3 hours. They heard from the consulting firm who showed interviews, brief interviews of the 6 semifinalists. They watched that. And then some members asked why other people weren't included, other locals weren't included. Mm-hmm. They had comments from the public who got up and said, why weren't some of these other locals, on the list? And the consulting firm said, they didn't have the experience of running any kind of a system or of any kind of administrative experience. So that was the downside. And all I could harken back on was, remember when Steve Prater was appointed chief of police? He was a sergeant.
Right.
And he jumped from sergeant to chief. Sometimes you have those diamonds in the rough that, now I know policing and schoolwork's a whole different thing, but sometimes you have a diamond in the rough that you may not know until you interview them, talk to them. See what they have to say.
Well, we'll continue to follow up. Mm-hmm. Mike and McCarty, 1017 FM, 710keel.com. .117 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. If you're just joining us this morning, first of all, it must be nice if your alarm just went off.
Yeah, no kidding.
Caddo Parish School Board yesterday met and kind of dropped a surprising decision when they decided only to interview one candidate out of the 6 that were provided by the firm they hired. A local candidate, Keith Burton, who has been within the school system for years.
No knocking Keith Burton here. I mean, everybody will tell you that. Great person, great leader, will probably do great things.
And the fact that he scored, Aaron, 58 out of 60 from all the school board members.
Yep, they passed out a tally sheet. You vote on them 1 to 6, 6 being the highest. He got the highest score from, I believe, all members.
John Glover, a local citizen who attends city council meetings. John attends Caddo Parish School Board meetings, Caddo Parish Commission meetings. Very active, very knowledgeable in local politics, is on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. John, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Thank you for talking with us. You were in the room yesterday. You were at the meeting. Tell us what that was like. What happened when that proposal was brought forth?
I think we were all stunned. We all knew within our hearts, sadly to say, that the fix was in. We all knew that Burton was going to be the one that they were going to choose ultimately as superintendent of Caddo Public Schools. But what we never realized or envisioned was that they were going to do it the way they did it, because their own process seems to have been tainted. You know, you say you're going to go and you're going to choose the semifinalists. Now, all of this that I speak to is predicated on Burton's knowledge of Caddo Parish. We all know that he was that candidate that knew everything about Caddo. The rest of them were outside of the state altogether. So to go into that direction is something of a, well, I won't say what it is, but it's not something that I would have done.
You said because tainted. You used the word tainted. Mm-hmm. How so? The process was tainted. How so?
The process was tainted because at the initial of the search process altogether, back months ago when McPherson and Jacobson came, they set guidelines. They set a process in place. And they say, here is what we will do. You will go out and you will compile, based on applicants, those persons that would be best for us to interview. Once we get those names, we're going to go and we're going to pull those semifinalists. Once we pull the semifinalists, we will present them to the public, at which time the public will have an opportunity to meet them face to face. They tainted their own process by walking away from the process. When it was that Burton got 58 points, all of them knew Burton was that one that they could say met that one question that had intimate knowledge of our school system. That was a no-brainer.
So the search process, you think a waste of money? We should have just hired Keith Burton 4 months ago and moved on?
No, what you should have done was, if you were going to hire locally, you should have included the rest of those persons that were locally in this equation.
Well, like Jasmine Green, we asked her that earlier this morning, and she said that they didn't have the administrative experience that would be required to run the entire school system.
And you know what's that predicated on? Because he's the CAO. He's been the CAO for 11 years. He would always have more experience than any candidate in that capacity because he had that hands-on knowledge. Now, remember, 11 years Mr. Burton has sat in that seat. And for 11 years, I have been complaining that our children, the masses of them who attend these D&F schools, were not gaining ground. Now, you tell me, is that really, truly proven leadership? And is knowledge always that which we believe constitutes that individual who you give the job?
But he wasn't superintendent. He couldn't make those decisions and institute that policy.
No. See, that's where I'm going to say, you're right. He was not superintendent, but he never came forth with a concern before the public saying, you know what? We know we're not doing what we need to do. And here's what I'm proposing. And I'm hoping that you all will support me in this effort. We never heard that from Mr. Burton. Never. He has to take ownership too.
John Glover, let me compare this to something else, and people might scream at me. There are a lot of people around this country blaming Kamala Harris for all the problems in the world right now. She's been in office for 3.5 years. Why hasn't she fixed everything? This sounds a lot. That sounds a lot similar. Keith Burton's been there the whole time. Why hasn't he fixed Is the argument the same?
No, ma'am. Because Keith Burton is the chief academic officer. That means he's over instruction. That means he has intimate knowledge of what every one of our schools are doing, the progress of our students, and though it may be vast, that was his responsibility. With Kamala, she was the vice president. Turku, she never had those responsibilities, but Keith Burton had those responsibilities.
Do you think he was the best qualified? I know you read the applications. You read it all. I did too.
I did.
He definitely stands out. There's no doubt about it.
He only stands out because he knows what's going on in Caddo Parish. That's the only reason he stands out. Because Proctor did a great interview, Cheryl Proctor, and she brought forth a lot of great ideas that she was going to hit the ground running. When Keith said we don't have time to let somebody come in here and learn, she had already done her homework, as did a couple of the others. And I'm going to go back to what I said initially. The fix was already in. How
upset's the community going to be about that? If that's accurate, how upset is this community going to be about this?
It just depends, Aaron, because when it is that the community doesn't come out to gain the knowledge that, say, I do, then they may not understand the gravity of what has just transpired. So if it is that they decide to mobilize and to see and to hold the board accountable for just this process that they changed it themselves, then they should be there on September the 11th and hold those board members accountable.
All right, one more thing I want to ask you about with regard to the interview process. And, you know, this isn't my first rodeo, as you know. We've met we've met contenders before. We've had receptions for them where we could meet them and we could ask them personal. You were looking forward to that, I would assume.
I sure was.
And now that's not going to happen. No. Looks like Keith Burton will be the candidate. What are you going to hold him accountable for in the next year, 2 years? What are you going to look him in the eye and say, you said you could do it. Here's what I'm watching for you to do.
You know, at this particular juncture, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you. And the reason I can't tell you is because I know what I know. And I don't know that what I know is what he's willing to do, which is to encompass all students, not a specific group of students, not a sect of students, but all students in a learning environment whereby we will provide for them true resources that can bring them out of these deep crevices that they're in that demonstrate academic inferiority.
One last thing, last 30 seconds. I got a text this morning that Benita Dozart messed her vote up and voted with the whites. We're going to be honest here. And because she messed up. Do you know if that happened? Have you talked to her? Is that accurate or is that not true?
Well, you know, she did vote with the majority, the 6. And whether she messed up or not, I'm going to tell you she didn't mess up. I'm going to tell you that conversations have been had, and she was the one that they chose. For me, she was the weakest link, so they used her to get what they wanted.
Wow. John Glover, thanks for joining us this morning.
And thank you.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Tim Fletcher's got sports next.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Aaron, going back to when you and me were in school, first of all, that was improper grammar right there, you and I.
Yeah, it was.
Well, if we couldn't read, we didn't get moved forward.
No, you didn't.
I mean, we had kids that were held back.
All the time.
It wasn't uncommon.
All the time.
And do they not do that anymore? You just move them forward.
Well,
you're setting the child up for failure.
We have changed the law in Louisiana with Cade Brumley. You've seen I don't know, I can't quote it at the moment, but we've changed the law where we are going to hold kids back. I believe it's third grade if they can't meet basic reading skill levels.
See,
but in the past, we have just kept moving them on.
See, that wasn't the issue. English and reading weren't my issues. Math was my. And the thing with math, if you can't master this level, you're not going to be able to get to the next level because it builds upon itself.
Right. There's no way. And your other problem was staying in your desk. I understand that was a troublesome spot for you, too.
In keeping my yap shut, that was another problem.
But you imagine if you have a third grader who gets to fifth grade and still can't read, and you've just been moving them along. Well, guess what the teacher has to do?
Are you doing that child any favors?
And the rest of the kids in the class, when the teacher has to spend extra time on that child, because we got to help that child move forward. That's part of our problem. It's been a part of our problem in Louisiana schools for a while now. And teachers will say they teach for that test. And that's a big problem, too. We've heard that a lot. I'm looking forward to Keith Burton taking the reins. I really am. I think he will be innovative. He's not going to give us, for those who say, oh, he's been part of the problem, I think maybe he's had some great ideas and he's not been allowed to implement them. I think maybe we need to sit back, be optimistic, and say, let's see what he can do. Let's see. I mean, the staff, everybody, the staff members that I talk to, and I know some folks that go high up.
Right.
They love him. They're very proud to work beside him and with him and for him. And they're looking forward to his leadership.
Well,
I think
Jasmine
it's going to be
Green,
great.
Tyler Parish School Board member, said even if it weren't her first choice, she's fine.
Yes.
She thinks can he do the job? Mm-hmm. She said absolutely he can do the job. So I just appreciated her interview so much, and we're going to replay that.
Yes, absolutely.
If you missed her, because that was early this morning.
Just don't want to make it about color. I think Keith Burton is highly qualified. And I read all the applications. I think he's the most qualified of the ones they had.
The highest score available is a 60 in their scoring system. Keith Burton scored a 58. The nearest candidate was 30?
In the 30s, I believe, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there was nobody even close. And then they decided to move forward with only one candidate. If you're just joining us, the school board's going to only interview Keith Burton. That's it. The other 5 semifinalists are now kind of out of the running.
News is next. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Oh, this is a good day.
It is a good
day.
You know, you're going to be gone tomorrow.
I am.
And Tuesday.
Yes.
And we are actually off on Friday and Monday. So we will have best of shows on Friday and Monday. Tomorrow, though, we have a special treat in the 7 a.m. hour. Mayor Tom Arsenault has agreed to come in.
Doggone it, when I'm not here.
And sit in either that chair. He can pick a chair. And he has
chair.
Whatever he wants. And he's going to answer any of your questions. Anything is fair game. He said, I'll do it.
Open it up.
1 hour.
Opening the phone line.
Ruben is going to open the phone lines. He's got the key.
Ruben's excited.
He's going to
He loves it when the phone lines are open.
I love it when oh, God. Oh, tomorrow. Oh,
I just hit you with that, didn't I, Rube?
Yeah, kind of.
And the mayor will sit here and take all your questions from 7 to 8 tomorrow morning. So be sure you're back tomorrow. If there's a question you want to ask him, you can send it to us now on the Shreveport Security Systems message board, and we'll put it in the queue, and we're going to fire him away at him.
Is there anything at this point that could save Fairgrounds Field?
No.
See, I don't think so either, unless somebody stepped up and said, here's $25 million.
Yeah.
Let's make this work.
Let's ask Curtis Jackson for the cash. Maybe he'll pony it up. Maybe he'll put some sort of big stadium, concert hall there. Who knows?
Ask that question for me tomorrow because I won't be here.
Anything that could save Fairgrounds Field.
Is there anything at this point that can be done?
Okay.
Because there's an activist group that's trying still to save. I've got a story on KEELnews.com right now.
Yep.
That are still trying. They've got artist rendering. They've got surveys. They've got what is it when people sign the
petitions?
Why does that word escape me? It's twice it's done that. But from what I understand, they haven't come up with a check. It's some money.
You need some moolah.
That's what you got to have.
You need some moolah, no doubt about it.
Well, Caddo Parish School Board made a decision to go with one candidate, local candidate, Keith Burton. Jackie Lansdale with the Red River United Teachers Credit Union joining us coming up.
Not the Teachers
Credit Union. Teachers Union. Credit Union. I need some more.
He needs a vacation.
I need some time off. I think I'm taking some time off. She's next. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Talk.
Of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
One 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Jackie Lansdale, Red River United Teachers Credit Union. When you're loaning money to teachers,
union.
Jackie.
Sorry, Jackie. He needs a vacation.
That's okay.
Teachers
That's okay. Thank
Union.
you. Thank you for the extra title.
Yeah, sorry about that. So Caddo Parish School Board made the decision out of the 6 candidates that were presented to them by the firm that they hired. They're going to go with one candidate, local candidate, Keith Burton. What kind of feedback have you gotten?
Well, it has been a long process, but I've done this. I've gone through this process. This will be my 5th time to go through this process, and it's never been an easy process. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time that I have memory of them actually choosing the second in command. And with Keith, or Mr. Burton, in the final analysis, they chose somebody they knew. And during the times that we're going through right now, I have a pretty good understanding that it's kind of like, seeing the village on fire. And they brought somebody in that they believe had the known qualities to address it.
Do you think, as we heard from John Glover earlier this hour, that the fix was in, that they were going to go with Keith Burton from jump anyway?
I can't say that. Clearly, I believe that Keith had been there, had worked with people. He was widely known through all, a variety of communities, whether it be political or religious community. People knew Keith Burton. I can't say that. I do think that the firm they hired, we've hired that firm before several times, or they have hired that firm before several times, always brought good, effective candidates. So, that's all you can say is what was presented to you. You can't determine what's in another person's heart or mind.
Bonita Dozart cast the vote, with the majority. Some are saying she may have made a mistake. That was attributed to you by somebody that sent me a text. Do you think that happened? Have you talked to her? Did she make a mistake in her vote? Do you know?
That literally, she's done that before. With a new voting device they have there, I say new. It's not really that new, but for some board members, it seems to be fairly complex. And on a couple of occasions, she's done that before. Did she do that last night? Only Dr. Dozart could speak to that.
So you haven't talked to her. You don't know that was an error on her part.
No, that was reported to me, but I would be less than truthful if I said that I knew that I actually heard that from her.
Okay,
in the final analysis, if that's how she voted, that's how she voted.
Let's be positive now. Let's move forward. Keith Burton's going to be our superintendent. What does he bring to the table? Are you excited about this? Could we see some changes that will be positive?
Quite frankly, I do think that I don't know if I said the word excited more than I said the word relieved.
that, we do know that Keith, and I say Keith because I've known him for so long, we do know that he has the background knowledge of how this district operates. We do know that he's worked his way up through, and there's something to be said for that, to be quite frankly, that to be rewarded after a job well done. And we do know that he knows where the things that need to be, we do know that he will have the ability to work with our local politicians on both sides of the aisle and with our state governments to right the ship as much as we can right the ship right now. We really are a district that has some hot spots, some crisis points, and at this point, all I would ever want to do is to say, Keith, come on, we're behind you, and we're going to work with you to the best of our ability.
What does he mean for teachers? You represent teachers. What does he mean for the teachers?
For teachers, from our perspective, he is the person that can make the hard decisions. He's not the person that's going to stay between the bureaucratic lines. And that, for us, is extremely, extremely relieving, extremely refreshing. We're glad to see that come. Because there are times when there are people that just simply, instead of, and it's hard. These people are bureaucrats, and I say that all the time. And I love them dearly. I work with them. They make great policy, but they do not get rewarded for getting outside the lines. Keith does not mind doing that.
Jackie Lansdale with Red River United. Jackie, you like Aaron just said, you represent teachers. Have you heard from teachers within the parish, and what is the feedback been?
Just probably what you've heard this morning. It's all over the place. We've heard those that feel like that their voices weren't heard, that once again, that school board, they just did this thing, that kind of stuff. And you've heard those that said, well, that's a great job, and we're relieved that somebody from inside the district that's paid, paid to be there, who's done the earnest work to be there, they're relieved about that too. So it really is all over the place. But from our perspective as leadership, we've been there through the entire process. As I said, this is our 5th time to go through the process. Never easy. And at this point, we just get behind that person that's leading and do whatever we can to help. If there's something that we don't think is right with what's going on, you hear us. You hear us loud and clear like you did with the insurance. Mm-hmm. And we feel really very good that this is a fresh start and that we're going to move this thing forward.
Jackie Lansdale, Red River United, thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate it.
You take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
To the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I'm trying not to hack on everything.
Yeah, let's not. I think your sickness has been extended so that you don't have to go on this trip tomorrow. Is this a little you're still feeling bad? Oh, Dina, I can't make it. I don't want to spread germs.
No, we're going to have fun.
I'm messing with you.
And I do feel better. Because, and we talked about this
I know
before.
You're looking forward to it.
But so let me bring this up, because actually it's so funny, Aaron, the people that I hear from, and because I mentioned the Novage.
Yes.
And it's hard. There's a learning curve on this thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I brought in a Novage expert. Jeff, step up here to the microphone.
Yeah.
Because Jeff's one of my buddies that I heard from saying he uses it. Pull that down straight. There you go.
There.
All
Perfect.
right. Perfect. Good.
Okay, you're a Novage guy?
Yeah, I hate to admit that publicly, but yes.
I know, right?
It's embarrassing as can be. What else you want to ask me?
Because you're all stopped up and stuffy?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen one demonstrated, it is not pretty.
I had to look up YouTube videos. It's tough.
Yeah.
There's no learning curve.
Huh?
No. You just put it to your nose and press the button.
No, because if you don't do it right, I mean, you're swallowing salt water.
All right, that's true. Yes. There is the potential drowning.
Well, good. So what's the learning curve? How long does it take?
hopefully short. For most people, it's a matter of minutes. But
For Mike, it's going to be a couple of weeks.
For some of us, it's a little more difficult. Those that went to Northwood, where the N stands for knowledge.
But it does help. It clears you up.
It's incredible. Yeah, it really is.
And this is not, but by the way, Navage needs to contact me and become a sponsor
Absolutely.
because this is not a sponsorship.
And you have one already.
I do.
And you just need to learn to use it.
Right, yeah. And I'm picking the more you use it, the more you go, okay. This is pretty self-correcting.
And for people that have pollen allergies in the springtime, it can help with that.
It seems to knock it out. I mean, it really does.
Wow.
I've gotten to the point where I use it virtually every day.
Because I'm an Afrin freak. And you can't use that.
3 days.
3 days is the max. I think I'm on 40 years.
Oh, man.
So I'm trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
No, Jeff's coming in. Jeff's going to come in with me on some mornings. So I'm looking forward to it. So I wanted to get him in.
You're going to kick me out, aren't you?
No, absolutely not going to do that.
Yikes.
He actually, Jeff may end up replacing me. So,
okay. Gotcha.
No chance of any of that.
Camp Fuego, at least you mentioned that real quick.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I spend our summers. Our family does camp all summer.
All right.
So, cool.
Thanks so much. We're going to continue our discussion on the Cattle Parish School Board coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. .107 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Cattle Parish School Board decided to interview one candidate out of the 6 that were provided. They made the motion in last night's meeting. Christine Tharp, Cattle Parish School Board member, made that motion. She's on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. Christine, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Aaron.
A little leprechaun just jumped in here. Okay.
Thank you for taking time to talk with us this morning. Hey, look, I'm telling you, the majority of discussions that we've had this morning about this have been positive. Keith Burton is, first of all, he's a great guy, a very good man. I'm impressed by the score. You guys have a scoring system, possible 60 points, and Keith came out with 58. What was the nearest score behind him?
I think it was 36 was the closest score after that. He was far and away out in the lead.
When you got the scores, it was quick after that. You quickly made a motion to interview just one candidate. Katie McLean seconded the motion. Then we voted, and it was a 7-5 vote, and we adjourned the meeting.
That's right.
The air in the room kind of sucked out. It was bizarre. Was I seeing that wrong, or was it bizarre?
You may have. I think you're accurate in that description. But we got the tally, we got the scores. Like I said, Mr. Burton was far and away ahead of everyone else, and so with a score like that, I didn't see any reason why we should call another candidate, waste their time, taxpayer money to bring them here and do an interview.
So, Christine, when you made the motion at that moment, did you know beforehand, before the meeting, you were going to do that? Or was that like, guys,
Absolutely
we found
not.
our candidate. This is our guy. Let's move.
No, absolutely not. I did not. I did not feel that way before the meeting. I went in with an open mind. I listened to everyone. I had read all the resumes and recommendation letters, and he was clearly the best choice.
To those who say the fix was in, he was your guy. Y'all got Benita Dozart to go along with you. What ye say to those folks who say the fix was in? Y'all had this all rigged ahead of time?
That is absolutely false. It is. It's just that's not true. I didn't know who the final candidates were going to be. I found out along with everyone else. It's absolutely not true, and I think that is wrong for people to say that.
For folks to say that he was the only local contender, that we probably had other people in the system that could also be a good leader. What do you say to those folks?
Well, I think we followed the process. We hired a search firm to do a job. They did the job, and we have to go with what we hired them to do. That's the process we as a board voted to put in place. Mm-hmm. So that's what we need to follow.
You know, you made a good point I hadn't even thought of, because, you know, people will say, well, we spent $60,000 on the search firm and they brought us 6 names, but we would go with the low. But then for those who say, well, why aren't we interviewing 3 of them? Or you make a great point. That's expensive to fly those folks in, put them in a hotel and hold these special receptions for them and all that. That does cost a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money. And clearly, with the score that he got, it's going to be a waste of time. So let's just move forward.
We were looking over the candidates before, and I heard Stephen Parr make a great point about, you know, some of the candidates, like we know one was from New Orleans. I don't know that you could say New Orleans would be a shining example in education. One was from Portland, Oregon. Tell me anything Portland, Oregon, and Caddo Parish have in common.
Yeah.
You know, philosophically at all.
Right. Yes. So, I don't know. Like I said, I went in with an open mind. I listened. I read the resumes and the letters of recommendation. And Mr. Burton, like I said, he was just a shining star as far as I'm concerned, as far as in all those candidates. I do know him, too. As a PTA president, I worked with him at Middle Magnet, so I know how he is with parents, and I admire him for that. I know how much teachers that I heard from just admire him, and I've heard from since last night. He's going to work well with everyone in Caddo Parish. I have faith. Have
you talked to Dr. Dozart? I got a text earlier today that perhaps she misvoted. Have you had any conversation with her about that, or do you think she was really felt exactly like you do?
I have not had any conversation with her at all, so I can't speak to that. Okay, let's move forward. What are your orders? What are you running your mission? What's your I've lost the word, to Keith Burton. What are you telling him? Here's where we want you to go with our system.
What's your charge?
Thank you.
Yes. Well, I mean, we have great expectations for him. That's for sure. That just to lead this district into great things is all I can say. To work with everyone who has a stake in Caddo Parish, and let's move forward and do great things and for our students.
But Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board member, he's got a tough row to hoe. We have failing schools in our system. We have the state wanting to take over schools. What are some things that we're going to do now with the new superintendent to hopefully make these positive changes? Yes, I look forward to hearing his plan that he's going to have in place. I have, like I said, all the confidence in the world in him. So I know he will hit the ground running, and I'm excited. The interview with him will be September 11th. Yes. And where do we go from there? It's going to be an open forum. You know, this isn't my first rodeo. I've done superintendent searches way back where it was all closed. The interviews have been closed. This is going to be open. It's handled a little bit differently. Explain that. Yes, so it will be an open meeting. We will interview him, and then we will vote, and then he hopefully will be in place after that. You would assume that, like Jasmine Green told us earlier today, he's going to be the guy. It looks like we all need to get behind him. I would assume we'll try to get a unanimous vote. Let's all get on the same page and move forward. Is that your hope? That is my absolute hope. I really hope that we can do that, yes. And then he would start October 1 as soon as that? Right. That's correct.
Well, it's exciting. Keith is I know him a minute, and great choice. Yeah. I think he's will be a good leader. A lot of support with teachers and administrators, and of course parents, and so we'll see how it goes.
He will be a great choice. He's got a lot invested. He's been here a long time. He's worked his way up as teacher, principal, like I said. His family works in Caddo, so he's a great choice.
And he's not going to be looking to take this to jump off to a, quote, better position, 3 years down the road. So he's local and he's here.
He is here for the long haul, and he truly, truly cares.
Right. Christine Tharp, Caddo Parish School Board, thank you for jumping on with us this morning.
Thank y'all. Have a great day.
You bet.
You too. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Now, breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
No. I'm glad we don't have cameras in here anymore.
Oh boy, no kidding.
I'm glad. That's never a good idea for radio people.
Yeah.
I've got a face for radio. Yeah. Shut up.
I'm looking at, we talked about this bicycle thing, and it happened in Philadelphia.
Clarify, in Philadelphia, they have a nude bicycle ride.
Yep, it's the Philly naked.
All their bicycles are naked. None of their bicycles have clothing.
Thanks. Okay.
Or is it nude bicyclists? Ugh.
Gosh, we can tell he's from Northwood. Anyway. They ride.
Can you imagine
naked.
those seats? Can you imagine those seats after the ride?
How would you ever sell that bike used? You put that bike on, put that bike up for auction somewhere. Trade it in on a new, but no, you rode this thing naked? No. And when you're doing something stupid like that, if you're going to go jump in a pond with alligators and you have no clothes on, you're naked. You're not naked. When you're doing something stupid, you're naked.
Right.
These people are naked.
Yeah, they're buck naked.
They're buck naked. And they're riding a bike. They say it's promoting good body image and fuel efficiency.
Efficiency?
Yeah. I don't understand it. I just know I'll never do it.
The Olympics, they used to do them naked.
Nuh-uh.
The Olympics? Well, sure they did.
The Olympics used to be naked?
Well, what would... Or I
assume all the Greeks back then were just always naked.
Right.
At least that's how they're depicted in art.
Well, can I see them on YouTube?
There's footage. Yeah.
Yes,
there's actual footage.
I just know that Mike and I on a bike naked, that's never going to happen.
No. Good Lord, never.
The chance of it happening for Ruben on a wild night... I think it's on the list.
Depends on how much Cazadores tequila put away.
Because a drunk
of
Ruben...
your special gummies.
Yeah, and the bike probably wouldn't be mine.
Yeah, I was going to say. Because a tipsy Ruben does some silly things occasionally.
Sometimes. It's been a while, but sometimes.
Well, like Seinfeld said, there's good naked and there's bad naked.
Yeah.
And most of it, quite frankly, is bad naked.
99% of the people that were riding bikes in Philly, you don't want to see them.
Isn't there a nudist colony somewhere over in East Texas?
Or
Do I remember that or
it's
something?
Like some kind of summer camp or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to walk around there. I don't want to walk around there.
No, I don't want to see that.
No. Nobody, no.
At all. Never, never, never. And I don't understand it. But this is a big deal. It's their 15th annual naked bike ride. I wonder if we started one here, if it would be popular.
No. Go to Walmart and look around for a couple of seconds. Yeah. Those are the people that are going to be in there.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. John Settle's a big bike rider. Maybe we'll get him to start a naked bike event.
Please don't. Don't even put that out there.
Don't do that?
No.
Okay. My bad.
Ruben, cut that.
I'm cutting it out of the feed.
Edit that completely out. Tomorrow, by the way, the 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour, I got to promote this a minute. Mike's going to be off tomorrow, but we are having Mayor Tom Arsenault in studio for the full hour. He said, answer any questions. I'm going to let Ruben get the key out and unlock the phones. You can call.
He's the Donald Trump of mayors.
Yes.
Not scared.
No.
Going to jump in, take an interview.
You can message us now on the Shreveport Security Systems message board.
Yeah, that message board is great.
Yeah. Send us the questions ahead of time, and we'll take those questions. I have it on Facebook, too, if you want to leave your question on Facebook. He's fair game. Anything's wide open.
Now, I want you to ask him, because I won't be here, is there anything at this point that can be done to save Fairgrounds Field?
Okay.
I think I know the answer to that. Mm-hmm. The answer is yes, but it's not going to be cheap.
No, it's not going to be cheap.
And that's the rub.
Yeah,
as they say.
Got another question
you
for him already?
You can have petitions, and you can have artists' renderings and architectural drawings. But if you don't bring a bucket of money to the table,
can't help you.
It's not going to happen.
Yep. Folks want to know if we're going to demo the Ramada Inn in West Shreveport. It used to be the Holodome. It's horrible.
Oh, I mean,
it's falling apart. Is that something you're going to demo?
City property?
It's not city property, so I don't know. Right. Will they condemn it and move in? Don't know. But again, he's going to talk a lot about demolition because we have all those apartment complexes that are struggling. Lots to talk to the mayor about tomorrow.
And that'll be tomorrow in the 7 o'clock hour.
7 o'clock.
He'll be here the whole hour.
He'll be here the whole hour and tying him to the chair.
Ruben's excited because we'll be opening the phone line.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that message board is really nice.
That's why you said that.
Yeah.
I got you. We're playing with the Caddo Parish School Board's been the major topic of discussion all morning.
Jasmine Green joined us early today.
She was fabulous.
We're gonna hear from her coming up at 8:40. Really great comments about the Keith Burton choice.
I so appreciated her comments. You'll hear that in about 10 minutes. 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Makes me laugh. We really do. I say this, and I don't mean this condescendingly, but our listeners are awesome.
They really are.
And I hear from people just during the course of the day. Oh, I listen to y'all every day. And it's like, oh my gosh.
I know.
And
be surprised.
Joy, our dear friend Joy, she says, because you'll have the mayor in tomorrow. In fact, from 7 to 8.
Yep.
Just wide open. Anything you like to ask.
Anything goes, yep.
And Joy said, she sent a message, says, Mr. Mayor, will you please pledge to ban naked bike rides?
Okay.
In Shreveport.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will do that.
I told you, speaking of how we've changed, okay, this country, I think there's a point in our history that you can look and go, we kind of took a turn here.
Yeah.
And Jim Morrison of the Doors was arrested at a concert in California for being accused of, what'd you say, Ruben?
He took it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But on that documentary, Woodstock 99, Red Hot Chili Peppers, the bass player, has no clothes on.
None.
Like none. Not even shoes. Nothing.
Well, he's notorious for going naked.
And he moves his guitar and he's not hiding anything.
Nope, he's not.
What happened?
Things have changed.
Honestly, after watching that documentary, Flea being naked was the least of Woodstock 99's worries.
You're right about that.
I know.
Absolutely.
Golly. Now, the girls, like, that wasn't an issue. But when Flea came out, she's throwing things again. Caddo Parish School Board member Jasmine Green up next. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Mike and McCarty.
Council.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Caddo Parish School Board. Wow. Kind of, I don't know. They made it I don't want to say shocking decision, but I think it will be to some.
To some, and in the crowd, they were stunned. I was stunned when I was watching it. I was like, whoa.
That they decided to interview only one candidate out of the 6 that were selected by the firm that they hired to vet candidates and bring forth the best candidates available. Only one candidate is now going to be interviewed. Jasmine Green, Caddo Parish School Board member, is on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. Jasmine, good morning.
Good morning. Let me do this in order. Miss McCarty and Mr. Martindale. She has a little bit more seniority, so I have to call her name first.
She doesn't have a little more seniority. She has a lot more seniority.
Okay, Jasmine, I hope it's okay if I call you Jasmine.
That's fine. I'm just fine with that.
Were you shocked by this move? Did you see it coming? Do you think the fix was in?
No, I didn't see it coming, but I'm not shocked. When you think about after we tallied up all of those numbers, Mr. Burton had a significantly high number. And what I'm thinking that the person who voted for, the one person who voted along with, not making this out of race, but the one African-American who went along with the other Caucasian board members, I think what they were thinking is, let's not waste any more time. Let's get us a leader. Let's go ahead and keep moving.
Let me follow up on that, because I got a text this morning that said Benita Dozart voted with the 6 white board members. Okay. I'm going to lay it out there. I got a text this morning that said she was confused and maybe didn't. Do you know? Have you talked to her?
I haven't talked to her, but I don't know if she was confused or not. But I do know that, I think what has happened has happened. It's looking like that he's probably going to be our superintendent. And my thing is, let's rock and roll with it. I'm not trying to go back anymore. I think that Keith Burton can do the job? Absolutely. I think there's some things in his interview that made him kind of stick out and know a little bit more about Caddo. I don't think his scoring was going to change any. I think it's time to let's rock and roll with it. Let's go ahead and interview him. Let's go ahead and finish up what he's got to do. We'll go ahead and negotiate a contract. And if he's the person, if his contract negotiation is in reason, let's go ahead and go.
Well,
go ahead.
I so appreciate your attitude towards this, because I don't want this to become ugly, within the community.
That's right. And so I've been through one of these, and it was so ugly last time. And I mean, it put tears in board members' eyes before Gorey got here. It was during his time. It put tears in board members' eyes. So I'm not trying to have that this time. Keith Burton is the leader. Can he do the job? Yes. He's already talking about putting a great team behind him that's going to do the work. People that are already here. Not only that, we've gotten a chance to choose somebody who's kind of homegrown. I'm sure Wanda Gunn is smiling down from heaven right now, because all of the work that she's put into Keith Burton. One thing that he mentioned that I'm gonna sit down and talk to him about. He mentioned in his interviews about high poverty areas with schools in them. That's a big thing in Caddo. And then in order for us to move forward, this is something that I preach all the time. You have to go to those target schools and get the community involved in order to push them forward. And he's going to have to come up with a plan for that.
Ms. Jasmine, you talked about the scoring process, and you don't think his score will change if they were to go back through. Can you tell us about that? What were you looking for? How did you base these scores?
Okay, so what happened is you look at the interviews and you go through all of their resumes and the things that they've submitted, and you start scoring them. And you score them from, I think it's like 0 to 6 or 1 to 6. And whoever has the highest gets the 6. And, you start scoring on down.
And out of a total of 60 points, he got a 58. He far and out surpassed all the others.
And so that's out of all the school board members.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they all graded him.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Jasmine, then. If it's Keith Burton, and y'all all loved him apparently, why'd we search? Why'd we go through this expense and this time?
Well, you want to give everybody the opportunity to apply, because maybe you have somebody with a little bit more experience who is possibly familiar with what the situation that we have going on with the state coming in, and can probably help us a little better. So you always cast your net wide.
Were you surprised that no other locals were named to that list of finalists, semifinalists?
I was. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I was a little bit surprised. I would have probably liked to see somebody else, but right now that's water under the bridge. Mr. Burton's the person. We're going on, and I'm going to tell you what I think that the firm was thinking. The firm probably looked at what everybody in the community wanted, and along with the board members, and what they did is a lot of people put a person with high administrative experience. So which means that probably would have been Mr. Burton and probably a few others. But when you look at people who have served in those high capacities, you notice all these people have either been superintendent or assistant superintendent for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. So, then it narrows it down.
Jasmine, the other thing, the big elephant in the room that's going to stick out, and people are planning protests, etc., is that the other 5 semifinalists were African Americans. They all had PhDs. Keith Burton does not. He happens to be a white man. How do you tell people that he's the best candidate, even though he may not have the most alphabet letters behind his name?
Well, the thing is, and I can understand their concerns, and everybody's concern can be valid. However, I don't think they were necessarily from Caddo, which makes it a little bit different because, like I said, Mr. Burton is home. He's from Caddo. I was listening to somebody speak. They said, his whole family works in Caddo, so so you almost, you can't go wrong here. He knows not to mess things up because he has a lot. He's vested here. He's not going anywhere, and sometimes that's good to know because you don't want a briefcase superintendent that's going to jump all over the place. You want somebody that's going to be here for the long haul. Mm-hmm. And with him having just having a brand new grandbaby here, and him, I'm hearing his daughter's now teaching. She's just graduated college not too long ago. So he's got a family full of teachers, so he's going to have some firsthand experiences and have some conversations among teachers that nobody else will have probably in that group, which is always good as well.
Jasmine Green, Caddo Parish School Board member. Let me ask you something here in the last minute or so. Just what do you say to those who, and we've got some messages that say, we need somebody from another perspective. We've got failing schools. We've got, the state coming in trying to take over schools.
And he's been a part of that.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. My thing is this. It doesn't matter who is superintendent. It does not matter. It matters that the person can lead, and whenever you have high poverty in schools that are in high poverty communities, you're going to have problems no matter who the superintendent is. So what you need is a superintendent that can help figure some of this out.
Well,
if he has that knowledge, I think the people he's going to put around him is going to have a little bit more knowledge than he does about it. And we're going to move forward with this thing.
I'm so grateful for your attitude, and I think it'll go a long way to make this transition a much smoother transition. And let's, like you say, look forward.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward, and you've got a lot of people having a whole lot to say. I'm hoping they're going to get in and help get this thing done. Mr. Burton has done what he's supposed to do. He's raised his children. They're all pretty successful children, and now we've got to get some people. We got to get some families looking like he is.
Gotcha.
And not just he is. You have a lot of people in the central office that I really admire, and I think that are going to get behind Mr. Burton to help us push it forward. And that's the thing. And I'm hoping on his very first day, if he's the person for the job, which I think he's going to be, I think he'll be able to negotiate us up a good contract that we can live with. We're going to move forward. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking backwards because I don't want this to be a mess. I'm not trying to make it about race. I want to be open-minded to everything. And we're going to see what Mr. Burton can do, and I think he's going to do a good job.
Jasmine Green, Caddo School Board member. Thanks for your time, ma'am.
All righty. Appreciate you.
101.7 FM 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Well, I hate I'm going to miss tomorrow. I do hate I'm going to miss tomorrow.
It's going to be fun. And
it is going to be fun.
I do need to warn you, too, that Friday we are taking Friday off. So we will have Best Of show on Friday morning. And of course, we're off on Labor Day. Tomorrow, though, Mike's going to be gone. So in the 7 o'clock hour, Mayor Tom Arsenault has agreed to come plop his booty down in one of these chairs and no holds barred. Answer whatever questions you have for him. If you want to know what music he listens to while he's riding a unicorn.
That whole segment could have been phrased better. I'm sorry.
I guess we could have. You got a point. Yeah. Can we edit that out of the network feed, Ruben?
I'm not even going to repeat that.
Oh, man.
Especially after we're talking about the naked bike ride earlier.
Oh, you got a point.
Not because that's all in my head.
Oh, you got a point. Anything you want to ask the mayor, you can message us on the Shreveport Security Systems message board, and I'm going to let Ruben get out the key and unlock the phone line.
I will unlock the phones.
Wow. You're excited about that, aren't you?
I'm excited about that, yeah.
Can you hear the excitement in the voice?
People are messaging us on the Shreveport Security Systems message board already. Mm-hmm. We did get one question for the mayor. If you could ride any mythical creature into battle, what would it be? And what song would be playing in the background?
We have the best listeners.
So, Mayor...
I might skip that one.
Also,
I might skip that one.
No. Mr. Mayor, will you please pledge to ban naked bike rides in Shreveport?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's good to know they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, I like that. Remember, the phone lines will be open. What's the number, Ruben, by the way?
I know, it's new. It's 725?
725
KEEL.
725-5335. So write that down. 725 KEEL. Easy to remember. And it'll be unlocked tomorrow. We keep it locked most of the time. Because Ruben
If you wanted to know what time it was back in the day, what would you call?
425-0211.
Thank you. I love
How
it.
do I remember that?
I know. Isn't that awesome?
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
I remember when they changed all the request lines to 320.
Yes.
Because those were the only prefixes were radio station request lines.
Yep.
It was 320.
Right.
Now they've apparently just recently changed that. But I'm trying to remember what KEEL's number was before 320. Because I know I called it back in the 70s. 425.
Boy, I'm not sure.
I want to say 425, but I'm not. It was downtown. Remember when you could tell what area of town somebody was in by their prefix?
You could, absolutely.
861 was a certain number. 742 was
Bossier,
or South Bossier, and 747 was North Bossier.
Yep.
And
absolutely. That's all different. I like the cell phone numbers now can follow you. Used to be when cell phones first started, you had to get a new number if you got new service. Oh, got to get a new number. Now
my
you
son
can
lived
keep your old
in
number.
Hawaii, and had 318 area code phone number.
Yeah.
And it's not long distance. No more long distance.
I know. That's real cool. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So we're going to have a good day tomorrow. 7 to 8, the mayor will be sitting in here and answering all your questions, whatever you want to ask him.
Tell him I want to know, what's my question real quick?
Fairgrounds Field. Is there anything that can be done to save Fairgrounds Field?
Thank you very much.
It's on my list.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.